Well, good evening,
Okay.
everyone, and welcome to Brian Crombie's Radio Hour on the Saga 960 AM, 960 AM. I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock. I've got a very special show for you tonight. A gentleman who I've had the pleasure of hearing speak on several occasions. He is a Sikh minister. He's a national leader in Canada for the Sikh faith, but he's also a national leader worldwide. He's a spiritual leader. He teaches yoga. He's been on TV broadcasting in Canada for over 20 years. He's very involved internationally. And I had the pleasure of hearing him speak at a couple private ceremonies, including one wedding ceremony. He was very profound, and what he had to say was very beautiful. And then recently he posted a couple of videos and commentaries that were about how COVID-19 could be a special time, and we had to treat it in a different way than I think a lot of us have been thinking about. So I thought it'd be really helpful before the weekend to hear what he had to say. I'd like to introduce you to Harinam Singh Khalsa, a Sikh minister and a yoga master and a spiritual leader. Harry, how are you?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Brian. I'm very privileged to have this opportunity to be with you and your viewers today and your listeners. It's such a great privilege, especially at this time. You know, we're now living in a virtual living situation, right? It's gone from just I'm isolated to we're actually now virtually living, right? So it's taken on a whole different aspect to how we relate to each other, how we connect with each other, and how we connect through each other. But it is a good opportunity. Certainly, we're reaching a much greater audience. We're coming into their homes rather than them having to come to us. So it is a time of great change and great shift, but we knew this was going to happen. So we've been preparing many, many years to this understanding because of the shifting in the ages and the times that we're facing. There's a great deal of shifting that's going on.
So you say we always knew this was going to happen. How did we know this was going to happen?
Because, you know, we teach through the yogic philosophy, even within the Sikh philosophy, other Eastern philosophies, that there's different ages of time, right? So we started, and these ages of time transfer over several hundreds of thousands of years. But basically, it brought it down to what they called 4 ages, right? So it's ages of time, and also, you know, the Piscean age, and now everybody's talking Aquarian age. But it was broken down into 4 basic ages. One we called Sati Yuga. Sati means truth. Yuga means age. Yuga means an age. So we say the first one was Sati Yuga, was a time when, you know, people were in peace and harmony and all was good and great and, you know, a wonderful time. And that lasted over several hundred thousands of years. And then came what we call Treta, which was the second age, which was an age where people started to question about themselves, about reality, about religion, about God, about those kinds of things. And so we say that Satyug was a golden age, that the second age we call Treta was a silver age. And then we came into the third age, which was, we could say that would be the Bronze Age, where again, borders were created, languages and differences and separations. So we say that the first age, the chair had 4 legs, and the second age, the chair only had 3 legs, and in the third age, it only had 2. And then we come to this age, which is called in the Sanskrit and Sikh tradition as well, which we call Kali Yuga, or darker time, or an age of shifting, when we come to that point of time when, as we've seen in the reality of it, where there's craziness, insanity, tolerance is very low. We have the spread of COVID, other diseases that have come over the last, say, 2,000 years of polio we had in the 50s when I was growing up, that scare and other things that have happened that bring us to this time of 2020 of a shifting of an age. And that shifting of the age isn't something that just a physical in terms of a human's understanding of it, but that in reality, I believe, and it's my truth that I believe in, that we're not just governed by what happens on the earth, but we're governed by the stars, the planets, the solar systems, all of that. If you did your astrology, you'd say, well, I was born in a particular place at a particular time, at a particular hour, and we looked that up, and you were longitude and latitude, and you might be a Pisces affected by, you know, whatever it happens to be. So, you know, I see things as much greater and much more vast than just this simple individual in this physical form that's here at this time. That in that shifting of the changes, we can see the growth of natural remedies. We see things like yoga and healing, Reiki, natural healing, energy healing, aromatherapies, holistic sciences, vegan, right? You know, vegetarian, people wanting to eat more healthy. So on one hand, we have a tremendous growth of human consciousness, we could say. And we've seen that, what has happened. I grew up in Toronto, and I was a hippie on Yorkville, right?
Really,
So
you
I
were a
was
hippie on Yorkville.
the late 60s, and then you know, we went to radical, you know, revolutionaries, chaining ourselves to the houses in Cabbagetown, and then kind of got from there. And at 24, and you know, starting in spirituality, which came up, I began to do yoga at the age of 22, so we're going back about 1973, 74, and I was already vegetarian. So already the consciousness, and then there was the whole movement in the city of Toronto, which I was involved in, of bringing the holistic therapies and natural remedies and self-help and all this. So I've been a pioneer, and again with yoga, when I started doing yoga in Toronto, there was one teacher, right? And people thought we were crazy.
Now
And said,
there's
"Oh, you
one
do
on
yoga?"
every corner.
Yeah, and I told my son that. My son will tell you, he'll say, my dad told me that at one time, every corner will have a yoga center. But we were young. I was 22 years old. And by 24, I had found actually the Sikh faith, actually, and then Kundalini yoga, and then continued on until today, which is 44 years later, right? So back to the original question. So,
What a
you know, what
fascinating
we
life you've lived.
Oh my God, you don't know. There were things that I've done in Canada, which were the first that have never been done before, but that I started that now are big things and you know, names and everything. But that's
And
another story
I
for.
presume it is rare, but wonderful that you're a white person that is so senior within the Sikh faith.
Well, a lot of years of work in the Sikh community. As I say, I started at the age of 24. I was very much involved. At that time, the Sikh community was centered in downtown Toronto, and now, of course, expanded Brampton, Mississauga, and you have these huge temples. But when I started, these temples were just farmhouses, really, in Mississauga. And in downtown Toronto, there was one major one. And then we also had, where we had a temple there, and there was the original one on Pape, which was the first Sikh temple in Toronto. And I started to get involved because as a musician also, I loved the traditional Eastern music. And when I heard the tabla and the harmoniums, and it just drew me into that. So it's years and years and years, 40 years of my involvement in that community and serving that community, some calling within me to want to. And, you know, I started at 14 with Transcendental Meditation when the Beatles came back from India, and back at Bay and Bloor Street at that time. Now it's a whole Renfrew. But at that time, there was Dressmaker Supply building, and they had a second floor. And one Sunday, we got together and somebody initiated us in Transcendental Meditation and gave us a flower, a mantra, a flower, a banana, a mantra, and we gave them $25 and we became, you know, meditators. So that's going back to about 1966, 67. So
It
again,
sure is.
seeing the birth of things. So that calling that I had to consciousness, to wanting to learn, and again, in the 70s, in the early 70s, late 60s, it's not like today you can go and internet, right? And there was one on Harvard Street. I'm giving you Toronto history here, right? On Harvard Street, there was one store that sort of sold a Hindu sort of spiritual books, and we all kind of gathered there. But again, I was very young in this quest for self-truth and inner knowledge, which was really my quest from the age of 10 years old. Because at 10 years old, I realized that there was things that I wasn't being told, and I wanted to know what those were, and I began that quest. And so from 10 years old to 24 years old, when I came to the feet of the Sikh teachings, there was a manifestation of that 10-year period, a 14-year period that molded and shaped me in a great way. So through that work, and then really absorbing myself into the teachings, I just came to love the teachings and the environment. And the Punjabi people in the Sikh faith, I mean, they've got their ups and their downs, but They are really the most kindest, and you've met, Vijay and Nina and the Kanwars and others. They're really the most giving, loving people that I've ever met. Even if they have nothing, they're going to share their food, or they'll give you a donation, whatever it happens to be, even if they don't have for themselves anything. And that kind of work, and then teaching the young people and understanding the technology of Sikhism in English, right? So when I started on television, we started 23 years ago, maybe something. I know I was in my mid-40s, and we began. It was the first television program in the world to broadcast the Sikh faith. There were Punjabi state, obviously, on Vision and other channels,
Right.
but the first in the world to teach Sikhism in English, to give an understanding, translation, and an understanding of the Sikh faith, which not only then was given to people watching it within the Sikh community, but because it was national in Canada, we reached many English people, and they started to realize that this, because as I explained it, that it was a greater, more really loving science and technology of living. And they didn't know that, because you wouldn't have known that. You would see a Sikh person and they were just a Singh wearing turbans, whatever, right? And that opened up. And also then for the Sikh youth who were born here in Canada or born in the West, it opened up for them a greater ability to understand and
their own religion, where their background was from.
And
No question.
that changed the lives, really, Brian. I mean, it changed the lives of, I don't know, tens of thousands, 100,000, I don't know. And then over the years, of course, we've gone worldwide with that. So,
well, Harry,
yes.
Harry, let me interrupt just for a second. I apologize. We're chatting tonight.
No, I talk.
we're chatting tonight with Harry Nam Singh Khalsa, a spiritual leader. We're going to take a break for a message and come right back with more with him and how he really understands this current situation that we're in and what lessons he thinks that we should draw from it. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour, Saga 960. Tonight we're chatting with Harry Nam Singh Khalsa, a spiritual leader, a Sikh minister. Harry, one of the reasons why I really wanted to... Harry Nam, I apologize.
Hari Nam, not Hari.
Hari Nam, I apologize.
Hari Nam, if you want to call first name. Yes.
Hari Nam, thank you, and apologize. One of the reasons why I really wanted to chat with you is that you posted something recently about how we should be thinking about this time during COVID-19 and how difficult it is for some people, how we can get through it, and some of the, I guess, I don't think you referred to it as lessons, but some of the truths that you think we needed to understand during this time period. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, because you know what, it's forcing us to go more within ourselves, to kind of question and understand what is the ebb and the flow that's happening in the world today and where we fit into it. Because those questions come up. I've been talking a lot with our young people as well who have questions about that, because it's a different way of relating and connecting to each other. So in reality, that way of connecting, as we've been doing more of this virtual connecting, is that we actually can create a deeper relationship within ourselves and a deeper relationship with others, because we can't be with each other physically, but we can make that connection. And it's helping, I feel, although we wish it was a different way that we had to learn that, but we're learning that there's a greater part of each of us that can reach out and can feel and experience and understand in a deeper way what is happening inside. So it's creating an awakening, a change of understanding, a change of relationship, a relationship that you and I have, but also that relationship that is happening within myself. Because I say, what is that future? Where am I going with it? I can't go out and do the things that I used to be able to do. I can't be with the people that I'm used to teaching. I can't be in a classroom physically with anyone. So it allowed me to relax. I said, okay, then, but I can't do it. So I have a choice. I can freak out about it, or I can relax with it and take that opportunity to look within myself. What do I want to change? And of course, in the yogic way, we look at it mentally, we look at it physically, and we look at it within our spiritual life. That's why I say to people, don't let go of hope. Don't be hopeless. I like the word hopeless because it means less hope. It doesn't mean no hope. It just means maybe sometimes there's a little less hope. but to never lose hope and to understand and to change within yourself. It's that time physically. Well, hey, exercise. What else are you going to do? Right? Exercise, eat properly. The internet's available. What kinds of foods? How to eat lighter? How to become stronger physically? How to take care of our bodies? Especially during this COVID, we want to build a strong immune system. We want to build a strong glandular system. Our glandular system is the guardians of our health. We want to relax that nervous system, become more at ease, learn to breathe more deeply. So physically, it gives us that opportunity. Mentally, it can give us that opportunity to reflect, to become mindful within ourselves, to do maybe if you have the inclination to meditate or do something that calms you, to relax you. Because the first part of any kind of change in one's life, my belief and what I teach, is to learn to relax. And when we can relax and mentally relax our minds so that we don't become anxious about what is happening. And then in that
There's a lot of anxiousness out there. We talk about mental health issues increasing dramatically. I interviewed someone who was the head of a mental health institute, and she told me that their business was up 500%. So there was a great demand for mental health counseling. The LCBO, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, their volumes are up dramatically. People are home and they're drinking. Addiction is up. Joe Cressy, a counselor in Toronto, just indicated that more people died last month of opioid overdoses in Toronto than did of coronavirus. And so clearly, both are bad.
Yes.
Relaxation is a great idea, but how do you convey that to everyone when so many people have lost hope and are turning to drugs or alcohol or whatnot?
Well, my saying is you can either medicate or meditate, right? It's your choice to make. Because people
you can either medicate or meditate. I like that.
Medicate or meditate is your choice to do that. And yeah, that's on the increase, because if we're not conscious about the way we live, and there's a lot of unconsciousness in the world, then we want to medicate through the use of drugs, alcohol, medication, whatever that happens to be. Because again, we didn't take care of ourselves. We weren't prepared. So as soon as when we're not prepared and the nervous system gets hit with it, and we become fearful and we become anxious, and that triggers all those other parts of us, and also our negative mind gets indulged in that, and we become depressed. Depression is when our negative mind becomes stronger than our conscious mind in its ability to understand and synthesize information to grow. So we get an addiction, we get locked into that. So we want to just dumb ourselves out, so that we don't have to feel what's happening. So we see the increase in LCBO. Of course, our sales go up. I'm a counselor. My counseling has been going up, even within our own communities.
Right.
So we have that choice, we have that choice to make. The one thing of a human is we have a right of choice. And the choice and how we make those choices, we can make those choices that are healthy and sustainable for us, or we can choose those things that are just going to push us further down into our negative mind, into our depression, which makes it hard to come out of, because once that cycle starts, we end up on that treadmill. So one of my purposes and my mission of life is to help people, to give that hope that we can get out of that and we can go forward by taking care of ourselves. But that becomes a conscious choice. The conscious choice to either be healthy, take care of yourself, get through this time. Because the saying goes that either you change as the times change, or the times are going to change you. So when I said that we were prepared for this, so that as these times are changing, we want to be ahead of those times. We want to understand, what is this? We see in politics, we see insanity, we see what's going on that's increasing, as those who want to maintain control are putting more effort into controlling us to maintain their control. We can see what is happening in this world. So we have to change as these times are changing. Otherwise, the times change us. We get caught. And then we get wheeled by the time. right? If you can't deal with what is happening, then you get wheeled by it. Wheeled means you get rolled over, right?
Right.
And many people are choosing, we're caught in it. I'm a victim of it. I can't change it. I'm depressed. I might as well have a drink. I might as well take a drug. I might as well do this or that. And we get wheeled by it. But we have to learn how to deal with it and be strong enough within ourselves. That's that physical, mental, and emotional strength. To be strong in that within ourselves, that we can change with the times by being conscious of how we live. And that's a simple truth. To learn about conscious living. That's all I've taught in 40 years. Forget about this faith, that faith. All I've simply taught is a message of how to live consciously. Because
Living
that was
consciously.
my quest. I'm sorry?
And so I guess if I had to sort of simplify, if I could, so number one is relax. Number
Yes.
two is, you've said think, you've said be conscious, contemplate, meditate. Then number three is change.
Is
And then
change.
number four is deal with it and develop a strength in yourself.
Yes. Yes. To live consciously.
And that allows you to live consciously.
Yes, and living consciously is a choice that we make, right? We can become a victim to everything. Oh, poor me, I'm just a victim and I have no control over anything. And so what does it matter if I live? What does it matter I leave, right? We can be in the victim, or we can become victor. We can say, wait a second, hold on. Let us join together in strength. That's why communities, we believe that everybody's created equal, right? Work with each other and help each other and spread a message of peace and of light. Spread a message that we don't bring sorrow into our tomorrow, right?
So this is
That's
one
a
of the other
choice
things that you've spoken about a lot, is that connectiveness, and that we've got to help others in this process.
Yes, we definitely need to help each other, just as we have today. And Brian, so graciously, you've given the platform that's allowed us to get together today. And that's part of that conscious living, Brian, within yourself, that you're conscious of that, of being able to present those choices. So you're playing a great part in giving people hope, in giving people that exposure, right? So, we can do a big thing. I'm worldwide. I've got a million, some odd people doing this. Or we're reaching, if just a neighbor reaches into that, a friend reaches to a friend, it's the same frequency. Because war will not bring peace. What will bring peace will be our consciousness. If it's true that every war ends at the negotiation table, I say, why don't we start there and then we can avoid
Anyway,
it.
no question. I had a story told to me a week ago that I thought spoke about this. A teacher was trying to teach her children, her students, about the benefits of working and helping others. And so she asked them all to write their name on a balloon and blow the balloon up and put it in the room. And then she asked them all to go find their balloon. And she only gave them 2 or 3 minutes, and none of them could find their balloon within that first 2 or 3 minutes. And then she stopped them and she said, okay, let's try a different strategy. Let's try let's help someone else first strategy, where grab the first balloon you can see what name is written on it, and take that balloon to who the owner is. And she said, go. And 15 seconds later, it was all done. Everyone had their own balloon. And so she asked them what the answer was. And the answer was, if you help other people first, you actually achieve your objective far faster than if you're only self-oriented.
That's very true. It's very good. Yeah.
But it's a good analogy for a lot of parts in life. When you help other people, you get a lot more returns yourself.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a law of the universe that states that whoever gives shall always receive, right? That we teach that in spirituality, that those who give shall always receive, because it opens up a channel, it opens up a doorway. So as you've noticed with my teachings, I always talk about how we're much greater than how we perceive ourselves to be. We have intuition. We can feel and see through that intuition. When the intuitive mind is strong, then you understand everything. There's a simple method called applied intelligence.
Applied intelligence.
Implied intelligence.
Implied.
First is to comprehend, right? I speak, we're talking, you comprehend. Second is that we compare. Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. Well, maybe no, I can, and we compare it. But the third step of that applied intelligence is to take it to our intuitive mind. And in our intuitive mind will give us the answer we need. And through my teaching over these many years, the fastest way of developing a strong intuition and intuitive mind is through mindfulness meditation, to open those channels to go from the negative to the positive to the neutral self, and then to be able to see through those eyes clearly. So that applied intelligence is always to take it to your intuition. So I always say, well, geez, if I only trusted my intuition, oh, I knew that, right? How many times do we say? So I
Exactly,
say,
no
trust
question.
it then. Trust that intuition. Develop a strong intuitive understanding of what is happening and apply your intuition. That's intelligence. Intelligence isn't, I can, recite so many scriptures, I can read from so many books. It's how you use your intelligence in an intuitive way to understand the change and shift of time.
Well, there's that
So
old
what
line
I,
about, things that are data, then they become information, then they become knowledge, then they become wisdom as you apply them.
yes, you're right. And that's always an application of the intuitive mind. Because your intuitive mind, when you tune into yourself, you're more in tune with yourself and your intuitive mind. Everything you need to know is given. That's my personal experience over these years. So I
Hari,
just learned over, yes, go ahead.
Harinam, this temple behind you is stunning. Where is it, please?
This is Golden Temple in Amritsar, India. It's one of the most peaceful places you can ever visit. Justin Trudeau and family have been there many times. It's built out on what's called a sarovar, a healing tank. You can bathe in that tank. There's many stories. And what's most significant about the Golden Temple is it has 4 doors. And those 4 doors represent that anybody from any walk of life, any religion, any faith, any belief, through their humbleness can walk into that temple and be received. So that's the concept that I love, the universality of the Sikh teaching is that anybody, we don't proselytize. A Sikh doesn't look, I'm going to convert to another Sikh. It's open for all people, regardless of their faith, their gender, their color, their belief, their preferences, their religion. Everyone is welcome. That's what brought me more deeply into it when I understood that it was a universal teaching that allowed all people. And at that Golden Temple, every day, now with COVID, now it's actually opened again, but feeding well over 100,000 people per day are
Oh my
fed.
gosh, really?
And one thing that people didn't know about any Sikh temple, you can go in Toronto, Vancouver, wherever you want, you will always be fed. There will always be food for you. In every Sikh temple, no matter where you go in the world, if you're hungry, you can visit and eat and wonderful Indian food, and you just humbly go. So
Harinam Singh Khalsa, thank you so much. We're going to take another break and come back more with Harinam in just a minute. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. We're chatting tonight with Harinam Singh Khalsa, a spiritual leader, a Sikh minister, and just a really wonderful gentleman. Hari, I've got to ask you about a couple of posts and lectures that you've had up recently, and I found really quite interesting. One of them was that we have to have commitment in life, and we need to do something spiritually to be able to have commitment. Can you explain that?
It's, commitment, I teach about what we call the 7 steps of happiness. And the first step in that reaching towards happiness is commitment. So commitment means meant to commit. That until that, no matter what it is in life, until you make that commitment and stand by that commitment, then life goes nowhere. And very briefly and very quickly, those 7 steps are: commitment gives character, character gives dignity, dignity gives divinity, divinity gives grace, grace gives the power to sacrifice, and when you have no fear, there's happiness. So it all starts with your commitment, and anything that you want to progress forward with, that commitment is important. And you'll never build trust without commitment. And a person without trust, where does one go? Right? Today we have to build trusting friendships, trusting relationships, and that comes through that commitment. And that's why I say in this time, is not only a time to understand each other, but now is the time to stand under each other.
Stand under each other.
Yes.
That's the best way to understand.
But stand under.
I guess there's a comparison there. You also talk about the blocks that keep us from experiencing happiness and success. What are those blocks?
Well, each of us have our own individual blocks. A lot of it is just fear. When we feel that we won't be successful, the basic understanding is there's not enough to go around. If somebody says, well, I'll never make enough money, I'll never have enough of what I need. So we feel there's a lack. There's not enough of money to go around. There's not enough of love to go around. There's not, all those things. And we feel that within ourselves. And we lose that sense of abundance. There's poverty consciousness. There's prosperity consciousness. We hear those terms. And most of it is because of our own fears and our doubts that we have within ourselves. I was saying last night, I was speaking, and I say, don't get caught in your doubts about yourself. Be about yourself, not doubt yourself. As soon as that doubt comes into our mind, doubt is like nuclear fusion, right? Doubt multiplies. There's never one doubt. There's always 2, 3, 10, 11, 12. So it's the fear that we have within ourselves to be successful. It's a fear that we have and a doubt that we have. It's a matter of how we perceive ourselves. I teach 4 basic principles: know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and be yourself. And all you have to do is learn those 4 basic principles. Know who you are, trust within yourself, love yourself, which is very difficult for us, and be yourself, because who else can you be?
And how does one know their self, love their self, trust their self? Through meditation?
Just be.
Just be.
If you want to meditate, God bless you. I wish you the best. If you want to take my class, I'll teach you. But just take those simple ways. What do you need, Brian, to trust yourself more? What do you need to love yourself more? What do you need to be yourself? What do you need to know yourself more? And answer those questions for yourself. It's individual. And whatever works for you, do it. Right? Nike says, do it. I say, we did it. I tell the kids, we're going to make our shirts, I did it. Right? Don't just do it, I did it. Right?
You also spoke about the need for balance and steadiness during this time. Yeah. Is that your relaxation point?
Well, it's not only through relaxation is a good way to start dealing with it, but that balance within yourself. My belief, and I talked about it in one of those lectures, about the core truth, that within each of us lives a core understanding about ourselves. Problem is we betray it. So as long as we're betraying ourselves, it creates a duality within us, right? That one part that says, yeah, I'm going to do it, no problem. I'm going to take that diet. And the next thing you know, yeah, okay, let's go and get donuts and everything. So we have that duality within us. So the balance is to understand again yourself and to not be under the slave of your mind, but learn to command your mind. How many talk to their mind and say, mind, don't eat that donut, but we don't talk to our mind. So we become a slave to it. And as soon as we become a slave to the mind, we're driven by that. So the balance is, don't be a slave to your mind, learn to command your mind.
Don't be a slave to your mind, command your mind. You also spoke about the essence of life. What is the essence of life?
Essence of life, you're asking me, we have 2 minutes to go. The essence again is, what is an essence? An essence is a aroma, it's a flower, it's a nurturing. The essence of life is that you were created by a creator, you're a creature. You were designated to be here at this time. We are designed in this physical form. We're going to live a certain amount of time that we're here. And at some time we're going to depart. We're not permanent residents. Life is like a hotel. You check in and one time you check out. Right? It's the same thing.
Sounds like that old song, Hotel California.
Hotel California, right. So what you do in that time, whatever time of space of time that you've been given in this life, live your fullest. Open your heart, open yourself, don't close down. The essence of you is to see the light that lives in your heart, see the vibration of your soul within you. We're all very beautiful, vibrant people. I love to meet everyone because I've not met one person who is the same.
What do you mean by
Not
the
one.
vibration in your heart?
The vibration in your heart that feels love, that feels the nurturing, that feels that you want to be part. You know, human beings have two basic instincts. We have an urge to merge with each other, and we have a longing to belong with each other. Those are the two things of a human. We want to merge with each other, and we want to belong somewhere. Why do we have marriages? Why do we have partners? Why do we have our children? Why do we have those things that we love? Because we want to merge with each other. We want to feel that merge physically. We want to feel that we're merging mentally. We want to merge in the light of the heart of our souls to each other. And we want to belong somewhere. So that is the essence of you in relationship to the time that you spend here at this planet in this physical body, to enjoy this life, to prosper in this life, to be successful in whatever that means for you.
You made an appeal for greater tolerance.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, that is our biggest problem. One of the biggest one is tolerance, is not being tolerant with each other. And we have some of these world leaders who are so intolerant, and what they say is intolerant, and how they talk about other people is intolerant. And as long as that way of being and bullying and putting people down exists, as long as we don't see each other as the same, my teaching is that there's one God, there's one creator who created all creation. I may be a Sikh, somebody may be Catholic, somebody may be Muslim, somebody is Hindu, somebody's Buddhist, someone is Jewish, but don't we bow to the same God? Do you have one God you bow down to and I have some different God somewhere? No.
It's the same God.
Bow to it's the same God. However you say, what is God? G-O-D, generates, organizes, delivers. We bow to the same God. So what is the consciousness? To see the light that lives in the heart of every soul and to see through eyes of that love. Because tolerance can change, and it has to change. These bullies, these ones that are, just insanity, has to come to an end. And it will come to an end. Maybe in my lifetime I won't see it, but if my children and their children, their children's children will see that in their lifetime, I'm not going to give up to my last breath, and even after. So not only here, but in thereafter and hereafter, God willing, I'll still have some input somewhere so that tolerance can prevail. Because our biggest psychological thing is that we are not tolerant and we are defensive. And that attitude of defensiveness, that we have to defend something, that has to shift. We talk about transparency. We talk all these key words that are coming out now. But as long as we're that attitude of defensiveness, and what's the opposite of the attitude of defensiveness? Is the attitude of gratitude. With an attitude of gratitude, you'll always succeed in life. Grateful is two words, great and full. Right? As long as that attitude of gratitude, what can we teach our children? That if they have an attitude of gratitude, that's all they need. To be grateful for everything that exists. And
an attitude of gratefulness.
Yes, and gratitude.
And gratitude. Excellent.
Yes.
And tolerance. And I love your is it 7 steps? Commitment.
Commitment gives us character. Character gives us dignity. Dignity gives us divinity. Divinity gives us grace. Grace gives us that power of sacrifice. And always when we're willing to serve others, happiness shall always come. We call these the 7 steps of happiness.
The 7 steps of happiness. Fantastic. And then that you have to know yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to trust yourself. And then you have to be yourself.
Correct. Very good.
Some wonderful lessons from Harinam Singh Khalsa tonight. Thank you, Harinam, so much. If people want to follow you on Facebook or YouTube or however, how do they do that?
Well, they can come to my Facebook page, Harinam Singh Khalsa Canada. YouTube is which is a religious title, Harinam Singh Khalsa, Harinam Singh Khalsa on Instagram. So there's many ways, and through that you can connect into me and get further information about our courses and workshops. I teach a weekly Zoom course, yoga class, which I've been teaching for over 40 years. I have different training programs. I teach an energetic healing program called Sensory Healing, teacher training programs, and we can organize them. And because I'm not traveling, usually we're traveling to India, UK, really all over Eastern Canada, Western Canada. I'm doing a lot of travel, but I'm not traveling now, obviously. So
Yeah.
we're spending much more time developing new programs and finding ways of delivering these programs. So just go to Harinam Singh Khalsa. If you Google me, you'll see tons of things there. I produced a yoga show with the Rogers for 4 years. We have those posted. So you can just connect through internet and through Facebook, Instagram, and you can see from there, and then you can send messages and we'll get back to you and let you know about our programs.
Harinam Singh Khalsa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate all of your words of wisdom. And you've relaxed me. I'm going to go and enjoy the sunshine in my backyard, and I'm going to meditate, not medicate. Thank you so much for your inspiration, sir.
And Brian, thank you so much for reaching out to me. It's a great honor and a privilege. I know we probably just brushed each other, but Bonnie, I've known her for many years and things, and it's just a great honor. And keep up the great work that you're doing. And anytime I can be of any assistance, help, anything you need at any time, please call upon me. I'd be most
Thank you so much.
honored.
That's Harinam Singh Khalsa.